Bueno, pues aquí estamos con un nuevo juego para el canal. En este caso no se puede ni considerar serie, imagino, porque voy a jugar a Stanley Parable, que es un juego pues muy rarito, ¿vale? Por lo que tengo entendido. Ya de primeras, pues aquí la imagen está en bucle del ordenador y toda la historia. Vale, que por cierto he estado mirando y si activo esto de aquí, me salta aquí abajo un logro en logro desbloqueado. Achievement, vale. O sea que no sé, bueno, pues vamos a marcar esto, vamos a empezar a jugar. Es un juego raro y no sé exactamente de qué va. Es como que estás en una oficina y llegas a la oficina y no hay nadie o algo así, ¿vale? Y a partir de ahí pues hay un narrador que te va hablando y bueno, vamos a ir viéndolo, ¿vale? The end is never. The end is loading. Bueno, ahora veremos. Oye, se me ha quedado guardado el tema de los gráficos. Creo que sí, ¿no? ¿O no? Ostras, igual no, ¿eh?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Creo que no... A ver. Ah, sí. Ok. Ay, me he saltado el... Nada, vamos a volver a empezar, no pasa nada.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons
Como
on
yo.
the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although
A Stanley le
others might
gustaba,
have
¿no?
considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Vale, pues Stanley trabajaba aquí en el ordenador. El ordenador siempre le decía lo que tenía que hacer y un día llegó y ya no le decía nada. Y tampoco hay nadie y nada, así que vamos a ver qué pasa. Vale. Esto... A ver, un momento, porque he visto los controles que son nada, ¿no? Son tontería. Agacharse control y usar objeto mouse. Vale, ok. Tiene un poco de como de deslizamiento al correr. ¡Ey! ¡Abre! No. Nada, no puedo abrir las puertas. Y esta tampoco la puedo volver a abrir, tío. Pues nada. Así me agacho, ok. Vale, pues vamos a ver qué podemos hacer.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vale, te dice que entró a la puerta de su izquierda, ¿vale? Entonces lo que puedes hacer es desobedecer al narrador. ¿Vale? No sé qué hacer. Porque no he visto nunca He visto solamente el principio del juego. Dije, este juego lo quiero jugar algún día. Y hace como 4 o 5 años que lo tengo y aún no lo he jugado. Así que vamos a ver. ¿Qué hago? ¿Entro a la izquierda? Vamos a hacerle caso primero, a ver qué pasa. ¡Ey! Nada, tío. Esta puerta no tiene número. ¿Qué hora es? 11:25. ¿Y el tiempo pasa de verdad o no? Vale, vamos a ver.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Consejos para no ser despedido. Hablar
Stanley
poco.
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Esto es la oficina del jefe, vale, ok. ¡Ey! Ha cambiado la diapositiva. Claro, no puedes tocar nada. A ver qué dice aquí. We need less reviews. Bueno, no voy a leerlo todo. Everyone is unique. To most of all. Bueno, la mayoría de vosotros, ¿no? Claro, si todos son únicos, ninguno es único, porque todos ya tienen la particularidad de que son únicos. Bueno, se cierra esto también, tío, yo qué sé. ¡Ey! Puedo entrar aquí al cuarto de la...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Aquí no había nada. Algo tiene que haber. Si me lo dice, algo tiene que haber. Una llave inglesa.
Here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything.
Se entró en una esquina y se puso a llorar.
To interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet.
Va, sí, no, vamos a ir, va. A ver qué pasa.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
Camino hacia arriba, vale,
upstairs
vamos
to
a
his
ir.
boss's
Va,
office.
hacia arriba, a la oficina del jefe. Vale, es más arriba, es aquí. Wow. El baño del jefe. Las sillas del jefe. Aquí está la secretaria del jefe. O el secretario. No, por aquí no puedo pasar. Vale. Pues vamos a entrar a la habitación del jefe, al despacho.
Stepping into his manager's office,
chimenea
Stanley
que
was
tiene
once
ese tío.
again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held
tocar el
from
piano.
him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret
2845. ¿Pero qué ordenador? ¿Se quiere ir ordenador?
845. But of
Ah,
course,
vale, esto, perdón.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Ostras.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Hola. ¿Alienígenas? Oye, ¿esto sigue abierto? Vamos a ver si me he dejado algo por ahí. Pero es que esto aquí no puedes hacer nada, creo yo. A ver. Yo le voy dando clic a todo, pero vamos, no hay nada con lo que interactuar. Bueno, vamos a seguir. Ah, mira, mira. Eso es el icono del juego. El del medio. Let's go. Bueno, eso, la primera vez vamos a hacer lo que nos dicen todo el rato. el narrador. Y luego ya iremos haciéndole enfadar, ¿vale?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question
Claro.
the nature of his job.
Por eso estoy haciendo lo que dice el narrador.
Now, when for years it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long.
Joder. Parece un poco Portal,
Stanley
así el
walked
rollo
straight
del
ahead
juego.
through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. Me ha dicho que vaya por aquí. Por aquí me voy a otro sitio, ¿no? Es que claro, hay un montón de caminos diferentes. Bueno, un montón, al menos unos cuantos. Oye, aquí hay suelo, ¿verdad?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Vamos. Unas cámaras. A ver, ¿por aquí hay algo? Vale.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Fire.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Vale, y ostras, me podía haber quedado con cuál era el 427, pero no me he fijado, tío, antes de... A ver, 427, ese de ahí. Vale, pues está mi despacho ahí vacío, obviamente. Vale. Ah, otro piso ahí arriba, vale, ok. Vamos.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
¡Ey! ¿Qué es esto? Con esto lo apago todo, imagino. ¿O qué? A ver. Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver. ¿Y esto? Oye. 2. Antes he visto que hay consola de comandos. ¿Ah, sí? ¿Puede ser? No. ¿Cómo es? Con un botón hay consola de comandos, pero no sé. O ponía console, al menos. No sé. Bueno, vamos a verlo. Pues estos botones no sirven para nada, ¿o qué? Oye. No puedo darle a nada. O sea, le puedo dar, pero no hace nada. Bueno, vamos a darle al botón rojo ese. Oye, ¿y si bajo por aquí? Nada, tampoco, ¿no? Qué rayante ese juego, en verdad. Vamos a darle, va. Ah, no, que no puedo. Pues tengo que entrar ahí dentro entonces. Vale, vamos. Ay, he pulsado los botones estos antes. 1, 2. ¿Dónde está el 3 y el 4? 1, 2. Ah, el 3 y el 4 igual están aquí dentro. ¿O qué? No sé por dónde está conectado. Está conectado ahí a este ordenador. A ver. Tiene que haber alguna forma de abrir esa puerta. Seguro. Es una pantalla. A ver. Aquí no puedo darle a nada. Esto está todo apagado. Activate, ¿qué pone? Activate Power Cells. Vale. Mira, el 3 está aquí. ¿Y el 4? Uno, 2. El 3 está allí. ¿Dónde está el 4, tío? Ah, está aquí arriba. ¿No? Sí. Ah, vamos a darle a los botones estos. Aunque me ha dicho que entre dentro, allí. Es que quería hacer primero todo lo que me dijera. O al menos creo que me ha dicho eso. No me ha quedado muy claro tampoco. No estaba escuchando al principio. Vas a entrar aquí. No pasa nada. Controles mentales ociosos esperando conexión de entrada. Entonces le doy a off y listo, ¿no? Venga, va. Hasta luego.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Vale, pues esto es un final, entiendo.
Gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was
Con los arbolitos, todo verde. Sensación de libertad total. De falsa libertad total. Dime que es una puerta, que no es una pantalla. Parece una pantalla más que una puerta, ¿no? Ah, no, sí.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
vale.
The immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
O sea, nos hemos sentido libres haciendo todo lo que nos ha dicho el narrador, ¿vale? Bueno. Vale. Vale. Pues eso era un final, entiendo. volvemos a estar aquí. Aquí no puedo hacer nada, ¿no? Es que a mí... Oye.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
¿Cómo?
What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do
La hora es
now,
la misma que
Stanley thought
antes,
to
cuando
himself,
empezaba.
is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited.
Abre.
Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
¿Cómo? ¿Por qué ha pasado esto? ¿Porque le he dado muchas veces al PC? Así en plan, quiero trabajar. ¿O qué? ¿O he cerrado la puerta? He cerrado la puerta. Ah, claro. Vale, pues voy a repetir esto otra vez. Ok. He cerrado la puerta sin querer. Al darle a todo,
This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now,
Stanley
thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
Vale, vale.
In here
Pues
I
son
can
dos
be
finales
happy
diferentes.
forever.
Uno, hacer todo lo que dice
I
el
will be
narrador, y
happy.
el segundo,
Stanley
cerrar la
waited.
puerta directamente. Y ya
Hours
está.
passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's
Vale, pues
just
ahora vamos a
little
hacer
bit closer. Now it's
lo mismo
even
que antes,
closer.
pero cuando lleguemos al final le vamos a dar los
Here it
números
comes.
esos. ¿Vale? Y luego, la siguiente vez, voy a hacer todo lo contrario de lo que me diga el narrador. ¿Vale? Ahora vamos a hacerlo rápido esto, porque como ya sabemos
All
de
of
qué
his
va.
co-workers were gone.
Vamos
What
por
could it
aquí
mean?
así.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Que
memo.
sí, hombre, que sí. Ahora por la izquierda.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Exacto.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
La próxima vez entraremos ahí a la derecha y veremos qué pasa.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave
Exacto.
of disbelief, Stanley decided
Ay.
to go up to his boss's office,
Abrimos
hoping
aquí.
he might find
Vamos a
an
entrar.
answer. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm
Oye.
just going to be patient and wait for you to
Ostras,
finish
como antes estaba
whatever
todo el rato
it
ahí
is you
dentro,
enjoy
ahora me
doing
dice
so
lo
much
de...
in this room. Please take your time.
Qué guay, como es la misma partida.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oye, pues está guay eso. O sea, reacciona a lo que yo he hecho antes. Está bien, está bien. Vale, vale, vale. Vale, vamos a venir aquí. Era 2845, puede ser.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just
guay,
let
está
the
guay.
narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments
serio?
with some calming new age music.
Cállate, tío. O sea, déjame avanzar. Sabe que voy rápido y me ha puesto musiquita. Pero, tío,
Feeling
quítame.
soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley
Gracias.
calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ah, vale, vale, vale. Vale, vamos a bajar. Ok. Pantalla de carga. No. Sí. Muy bien. Tiene gracia el juego, tiene gracia.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
Vale, vamos a
that
seguir por
read
aquí.
Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Vale. Las cámaras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this
Esas
place
cajas con algo verde
where
dentro,
freedom
tío.
meant nothing.
Luego hay uno ahí que no sé qué será eso. A ver, ¿qué habitación es esa? ¿Qué despacho es ese? ...528... Y ahí también sale... O despedido. No me he quedado. A ver un momento. El 28 sale también así mal. Eso, qué casualidad, ¿no? El 528 y el 28. A ver, el 428. No, 428 no. ¿Y cuál es el que está despedido? A ver. El 104. Y ahí arriba uno que no pone número. Que será el 601. O no sé. Vamos a darle. Bueno, aquí seguro que me dejo un montón de cosas por hacer en este juego. Porque no le voy a dar tantas horas de juego como para descubrirlo todo, ¿vale? Vale, vámonos.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Pirata,
it was unthinkable,
pero...
wasn't it?
¿Qué es
Was
eso,
it
tío?
even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Vale, aquí vamos a darle los números.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this
El 3 está
very
aquí, el 4 por
As
arriba.
the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Cállate ya. Uf, me está poniendo nervioso el narrador, Pesado. 4. Bueno, haría poder saltar. Y a ver el 5 y 5. Y ya está, no hay más números, ¿no? Oye. No hay 6, ¿no? No, yo no lo veo. Vaya. $195. ¿Qué dice aquí? I like work. I just hate my boss. Huh. Oye. Yo venía aquí a darle a los números, Esto tiene que haber alguna forma de desbloquearlo, segurísimo. Pero seguro. No sé. Ahora ya no sé qué hacer. Vamos a darle aquí al 5 y si veo que no hace nada, pues voy ahí dentro y le doy al on. A ver qué pasa. Me da off. Es que no sé, tío. ¡Ey! Ahora está parpadeando el botón rojo. Ah, no. Qué juego más raro, tío. ¿Qué dice ahí? Mile. Smile pondrá. Seguro. 0521 0142. A ver, le he dado al 5 antes. 2 1. 0 1. ¿Y cómo pongo el 0? Si es que no puedo poner 0 tampoco. 0001. Buah. Ni idea, tío. Que tampoco entiendo para qué te puedes agachar. Porque no me ha hecho falta para nada, ni parece que sirva para nada en ningún momento, pero bueno. Esto es todo apagado. 0142. A ver qué dice aquí. ¿Dice algo más o no? H21024 o algo así pone. A ver. Vale, me están hablando. Ok, pues nada, no sé qué hacer. Aquí abajo tampoco hay nada que me sirva para nada. Así que, no sé. ¿Y eso qué es? Una G. Buah, me estoy quedando loquísimo. Voy a darle a on ahí a ver qué pasa. Porque esto igual, hasta que no le dé a on, no funciona. System power. Vamos a darle.
And when at last he
Que
found
te
the
calles, hombre.
source... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control?
Claro que sí.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's
Detonación de
emergency
emergencia.
detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes.
2 minutos.
Ah, now this is making
Qué
things a little
cabrones.
more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star.
Eres la
It's
estrella,
your
vamos.
story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated?
Pues sí, no estaría
All
mal.
right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office
Incorrect.
sink into the
Re-enter
ground,
passcode.
swallowing
Vale.
everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be
3.
even
Ah,
better.
vale, ok.
My goodness,
Vale.
only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much.
34 segundos,
You know what?
no me jodas.
To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra
Joder, sí que se me ha pasado
time on the
rápido, sí.
clock. Why not? These are
Vale.
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on
Ah.
trees.
Voy a morir.
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
¿Que le
Is
da el
it that
verde
you
ahora?
have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing
Bueno,
right
sé qué hacer.
now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
Me quedan 2
Running from
intentos.
button to button, screen to screen,
La estoy liando
clicking
pardísimo.
on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything,
2.
something
Ah,
here
que son los
will
intentos
save
que
me.
tengo.
Why would you think that, Stan?
No me digas.
That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley,
Madre mía, está alguna cabra, ¿no?
you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking
Claro,
away
tío,
to
tengo que poner
the
4-2. Ah,
You're only
no, sí,
still playing instead of
no
watching
hay
a
7,
cutscene
tío.
because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
Voy a darle aquí otra
This
vez.
is not a
Bueno.
challenge. It's a tragedy.
Enable backup
You
power
wanted
to
control
activate.
this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first. so
Goodbye,
you
employee.
Can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go?
No sé qué tengo que
peacefully?
poner, tío.
Another choice. Make it.
Deja de moverte tanto, por Dios.
It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your
Bueno.
inevitable life from the
Adiós.
moment we fade in until the moment I say,
¿Qué
happily
dice aquí?
ever after.
No lo he visto. Lástima. Lástima. Ahí no sé qué tengo que hacer, tío. Tengo que poner un código, pero ¿cuál? Tengo que poner un código con los botones esos, pero no sé cuál. 427 no puede ser porque no hay 7. Hay una puerta aquí que no tiene número. Pero claro, no. Voy a ir a la derecha por listo. No te voy a tomar el pelo todo el rato.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Sí, era eso. Voy a la sala de empleados primero.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Que pase por aquí, ¿no? Claro.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
A ver. Pues igual sí que hago luego un segundo capítulo con la solución. Porque no voy a saber hacer eso ahora. Voy a tener que estar un rato pensando a ver cómo lo hago. Y como tienes tiempo, tienes 2 minutos, pues tampoco te da mucho tiempo a pensar. Sí, puedo ponerme a pensar antes de... Pero claro, como no puedo hacer pruebas, pues... Ese es el problema. ¿Me puedo tirar ahí? Me refiero a ella. ¿A quién?
Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oye, ¿me puedo tirar? ¡Ostras!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
Okay.
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Qué imbécil es el narrador, ¿eh? Cada día me cae peor.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oye, ¿ha cambiado esto? No era así antes, ¿eh? What? Creo que ha cambiado. Ahora mismo no estoy seguro, ya me estoy volviendo loco, pero... El pasillo al principio era más largo. Que te calles.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. Yeah. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale, vamos a seguir por aquí otra vez, a ver qué pasa.
Stanley was so bad at following directions.
Pero esta vez sin tirarme al vacío.
He wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
No hay ningún sitio donde me pueda tirar.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
De una altura sin matar.
Trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
A ver.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Pues ya lo hemos visto, ¿qué más te da?
Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked...
Caminó por la puerta roja, ¿no? Nada, por la azul.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the
por la puerta red
door. I still don't think you're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ostras, tengo una puerta azul aquí.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here.
Hola.
haven't even finished building this section of the map because
Hola.
you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles?
128,
Skill
128.
trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely
Claro,
nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option.
Hola.
This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before.
Vale,
Go
vamos,
ahead,
vamos,
Stanley.
vamos.
Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now,
Please rate your
tell me
experience.
about your experience.
Mira, de
with this
64 por
new version.
128.
Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Ahí, ¿dónde estaba antes, Vamos a darle un... Vamos a darle un 4. No, vamos a darle un 2, por fastidiar un poco.
Now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't
Exacto.
totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
La verdad es que tiene su gracia el juego, tiene su gracia a estilo Portal, así un poco lo que es el humor y todo eso.
Vamos
a darle un 5 ahora, vamos a darle un 5
Again, honest answers, please.
Sí, pero déjame darle, tío.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Vamos.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game.
Qué
all
fuerte,
about the
tío.
desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
O sea, tengo que darle así 4 horas, ¿no? Bueno, pues ya sabes lo que va a pasar, lo siento, niño, pero... Es bastante desagradable el sonido también. ¡No! ¡Por Dios! ¡No! Ostras, no puedo dejar que se muera, tío. Es muy bueno, va.
You heartless bastard.
Descorazonado bastardo.
Because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over.
Venga, hasta luego.
Thank you for playing.
Ha estado bien esta parte. Eso sí, por meterme por la derecha y luego... Vale, saltar ahí al... donde las furgonetas y tal.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
¿Qué va a poner otro juego, me ha dicho? ¡Ostras!
Well, Stanley, is this any better?
¿Dónde hay diamante?
At last,
¡Qué guapo, tío! Pero que me ha metido Minecraft aquí, con sus popis y sus... ¡Qué loco!
But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
Pero no me deja salir de aquí, tío.
I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill
Pero, tío, que es Minecraft tal cual.
Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Y con los sonidos de Minecraft reales y todo, loco. Eso es Coarsedir. Hostia, qué guapo, tío. Qué ganas de jugar a Minecraft de repente. No, hasta que no salga la versión. La 1.19, ¿no? Es como hago yo para los aldeanos. Para encerrar a los aldeanos.
I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own
Ostras, que
inadequacy.
es Minecraft, tío.
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if...
Con diamantes, te lo he dicho yo.
That's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Oh, que me deja ir a minar. Pero da una pala o algo, ¿no? Un pico. Vale, no es la banda sonora, pero es muy parecida, tío. Mira, de aquí veo carbón. Las notas son las mismas. Vaya tela, tío. No me esperaba esto para nada. No me lo esperaba para nada. ¿Por qué no he jugado a este juego antes, tío? Que me voy a encontrar un creeper ahora mismo. ¿Has traído una luz? No, tío, no tengo antorchas. Pero, ¿cómo está tan guapo este juego? Dame carbón. Me va a salir un creeper, pero mira, con las setas y todo, tío, pero con las brown mushroom. ¿Pero esto qué quiere decir?
No. This is
Hierro.
far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one.
¿Nuevo juego?
New game.
A ver. Es Portal, tío.
I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspiring. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell.
Pero qué barbaridad de juego es este, tío. O sea, no me lo esperaba tan lleno de cosas, ¿eh? Me lo esperaba mucho más lineal y tal. Pero que voy a poder jugar a Portal dentro de Stanley Parable, tío. Tírame el cubo, hombre, claro que sí. Genius.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty.
Déjame seguir jugando, por favor.
See you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm...
Hasta luego. ¿Cómo está tan guapo este juego? O sea, de verdad que no me lo esperaba para nada. Vámonos. O sea, que me tengo que tirar, ¿no? O algo, porque no veo un pimiento. No hay camino que valga. $510, 509. Wow. No sé por dónde tengo que ir. ¿Qué hay luz? Mi despacho. Hola. ¿Qué es esto, tío? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es eso? Azul, tío. Es que no puedo hacer nada. ¿Y si le doy a la puerta? A ver. No puedo. Oye. No puedo hacer nada aquí, tío. Nada. ¡Uy!
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
Madre mía, es que ahora tengo un montón de frentes abiertos. Ahora no sé qué hacer. Tengo un montón de cosas que puedo hacer diferentes. Bueno, un montón, tampoco tantas, pero me da la impresión de que cada vez se va ramificando cada vez más cada camino. Vale, esto es una partida nueva, entonces. Vale. Ahora lo que voy a hacer es... Igual sí que era así esto. Y me he rayado antes, porque ya estoy todo rayado. Pero... deja de abrir puertas. ¿Qué pone? Who farted, que es quien se ha tirado un pedo, ¿no? Esta me pone fuel, ¿no? Be my Valentine. I hate Monday. Vale. Vamos a tomar la puerta de la derecha otra vez.
Stanley came to a set of two open. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop.
Ya sí que vamos a pillar el ascensor este raro, o sea, la plataforma elevadora.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Podría tirar por aquí, pero no voy a hacerlo.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't.
Vamos a ir por ahí arriba. Oye, pero qué guay lo de... qué puntazo lo de Minecraft y lo de portales. Yo pensaba que me iba a dar un pico y me iba a poner a picar ahí, seguro. Estaba seguro de eso, pero...
But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Hola. Qué oscuro, ¿no? Teléfono.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
Madre
Come
mía,
inside.
madre mía.
Let me show you what's really going on here.
Ah, vale.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named
Sobre la
Stanley.
muerte de un hombre llamado Stanley. Pues nada. Presione C en su teclado. Sí, porque no tengo otra cosa que hacer, ¿no? No puedo hacer nada más.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
¿No?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Qué cabrón es
From behind
eso.
his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions.
Una sátira de la vida, pero tal cual,
fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
8 para mirar televisión.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished.
Aquí antes, en vez de entrar a la habitación, podría haber seguido por el pasillo a ver qué había, pero...
The thought excited him terribly.
Para pasar tiempo con los muchachos.
So, he went further. He imagined that he came
Hostia,
to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
4 para preparar la cena.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls.
Con monitores y controles
Down
mentales.
another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a
Juego con un bebé, hostia.
And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Para contar a los niños una historia.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same
Tal cual, me va a hacer la habitación, el despacho, ya lo estaba viendo.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Te calles, hombre. ¿Ves?
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Para cuestionar nada.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
Vale,
I
nada.
must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Va, pues...
And I tried again.
Por favor, muera.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
No. Bueno, pues vamos a intentar una última vez, creo yo. Pues grabaré otro capítulo con más cosas, porque lo que pasa es que... ¿Ves cómo ha cambiado esto?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Qué? ¿Pero qué es, tío?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
Que no puedo salir ahora.
Did it advance the story in any way?
Oh. Bienvenido al final de la pizarra blanca. Console, Bark. ¿Cómo se abre la consola, tío? Teclado, ratón. Ya, pero ¿esto qué botón es? Es que claro. Vamos a cambiarlo y listo. No, tío, no me deja hacer nada. No me deja hacer nada, tío. No entiendo lo de la consola. Uy. No sé. Ah, que tengo una puerta abierta aquí. Madre que te parió. Vamos a ir por la puerta de la izquierda otra vez, a ver.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
¡Hola! Me ha cerrado la
Stanley
puerta.
decided to go up to his boss's office.
Ostras, voy por bajo, vale, vale,
Staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Que
office.
esto no lo he hecho en ningún momento, va. Ah, es una luz, vale, no es un botón. Uf.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Entró en bucle,
Why
tío.
did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
No, he entrado en bucle, tío.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't
Dame un
be
refresco,
real.
por Dios.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
B4.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Los números y tal, algo tienen que ver. Porque lo de A y B y... Oye, que estoy volando, tío. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? No me lo puedo creer, tío.
And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
Es que es perturbador que no veas este
Was
juego.
Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
Exacto.
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
Qué locura, tío.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up.
Bueno, tengo ganas de hacer otra prueba, tío,
I'm through
pero
with this dream. I wish it
tengo
to be
ganas de saber
over.
el final,
Let me
si no
go
puedo
back to my
desactivar la
job.
bomba esa.
Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oye, que no, que te has vuelto a despertar aquí en mitad.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an
Hostia,
office.
este tío es
I am
desquiciante.
real.
Lo hace muy bien,
Please,
eso
just
sí. La
someone
voz mola
tell me I am
mucho.
real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Está muy bien hecho. El narrador es muy bueno, ¿eh?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Toma.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of
Hola.
work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Bueno, al menos hemos visto a Stanley
Soon
por
turned
fuera.
to go call for an ambulance. For just a few brief
En tercera
moments,
persona.
she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real
Es que me hace mucha
and
gracia
what isn't.
el
It
narrador.
was comforting to think this.
Es un
And
cabronazo que no
in a certain
veas.
way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ya te vale, Mariela. Me has dejado ahí todo tirado. Pues nada. Volvemos. 427. Es que lo de la consola no lo entiendo. ¿Por qué no me deja...? Igual es otra troleada, vamos, que me lo creo perfectamente. Guardar. Vamos a guardar. Oh, vale. Voy a hacer una última prueba y...
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Eso es por lo del guardado que acabo de
Stanley came
hacer.
to a set of two open doors.
Yo creo
He
que sí.
entered the door on his left.
Vale, ¿qué me queda hacer por aquí? Nada, porque... O sea, hago lo de subir las escaleras, luego es lo de la habitación del jefe y... No, pues voy a entrar por aquí y luego voy a tirar a mano izquierda.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Por
just to
aquí, ¿no? A
admire
ver.
it.
Sí, aquí adelante a la
Standing now
izquierda.
in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Aquí.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the
Y
opposite
retomo
door,
su
and
camino.
got back on
Claro,
track.
y aquí es... exacto. Pues voy a bajar por aquí, a ver qué pasa.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Es muy gracioso el narrador, tío.
Oh, no.
No,
No, it's to the right.
perdón,
My
perdón.
mistake.
Derecha, derecha.
No,
Me va a
no,
trolear,
no,
sí,
no,
sí,
no,
ya lo
not
sabía
the
yo.
right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Vale. Oye. Estás ahí gastando batería de la furgo. Bueno, vamos a bajar. Vale, y estamos aquí.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Oye, a ver si veo algo por aquí.
We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story is completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Ay, que te parió.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nada, pues voy a hacer lo mismo. Y si veo que no pasa.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
Hostia.
Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Vale. Estas son las dos puertas de siempre y estas son diferentes. Pues voy a entrar por esta de la izquierda por seguir algún tipo de orden. Hola. Ah, pero no quiero que se me cierren las puertas cuando entre. Vale.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
¿En serio?
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No, tío. No quiero volver a estar aquí. Déjame escribir algo en el teclado. Help. Si escribo help. Nada, ni caso.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Me va a trolear otra vez, estoy seguro.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No hay puertas ahora.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Vamos.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Qué troleada de
Wait,
juego, loco.
never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Qué troleada de juego. Increíble.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Toma!
Congratulations!
Bien!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Ah, pues he ganado, ya está.
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people
Ya no
were
puedes
fair and square,
decirme
and
que no he
this was
ganado,
not
tío.
one of those situations.
No hay vuelta atrás.
Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time.
No me
I
reinicies,
have
tío.
to restart.
La línea amarilla que me
Alright,
decía
I've got a
antes, claro.
solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Vamos, va. Voy a seguir la línea amarilla, de verdad. Oye, que me han abierto aquí, tío.
You see? The line knows where the
La
story
línea
is.
TM, tío.
It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is
Camino por ahí,
inevitably
tío.
conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute.
Uy.
Just stick with me.
Esta
Now, we
línea
can both
amarilla.
agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's
011.
subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office,
Madre
is
mía,
this
tío.
office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental
Ya le estoy perdiendo el hilo, a lo que
construct?
dice ya.
Whoa,
tío,
whoa, whoa,
porque,
whoa, whoa.
madre mía,
Hang
tío.
on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music.
Claro
to
que sí,
lighten
pone
the
música,
mood.
hombre. Hostia, pero tan alta no, tío. 432 peer reviews. Por Dios, baja la música, tío. Bestia. Pero no la ha bajado, ¿no? Bocinas. Vale, vale, vale.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
¿Dónde está el hecho? ¿Dónde está? ¿Qué pasa?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Toma, foto. Ahora el hecho. Qué locura, tío. Qué locura.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're
Hostia, había
looking
otro
for the
camino por
Stanley
aquí,
Parable,
¿no?
right? The story? Is any of this
Claro,
ringing
claro.
a bell?
Bien.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through...
No, tío, deja de reiniciarme,
I
por
can't
Dios.
take this anymore, to hell with it.
Estoy empezando a molestar ya un poco, Por Dios. Tiene que haber parado antes.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people,
Qué
right?
desquiciante.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Va, vamos.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you
Me va a
want our
trolear, pero que
story
no
to
veas
be?
este camino.
Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Ay, Dios mío. Bueno, tío, ¡hola! You can jump. Logro desbloqueado. Y sí que me ha dejado saltar un momento, Qué guay.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Qué
Okay,
cansino
so I
es,
know
tío.
that
Madre que
each
lo
door has
parió.
to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So
Madre que lo
starting
parió,
from the
tío.
right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this?
Confusion ending for 16 minutos.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how
Ostras,
all
qué
this
guay,
goes?
tío.
It's all determined?
Es como
So now,
funciona el
according to
juego,
the
tío. Cómo
schedule,
está
I
hecho este último
restart
final
again.
que
Then
hemos
what?
jugado.
Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank.
After a long time, Stanley
Everything's
dies.
written
Ya
here
está.
on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I
Claro.
won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
No,
So, okay.
se lo dice aquí.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Perfecto. Vale, yo creo que ahora esto ha sido ya otro final diferente. Voy a guardar. Voy a sobreescribir este. Se ha guardado bien, ¿no? 53, correcto, sí. Ok. Y nada, y lo voy a dejar aquí. Exacto. Esto ya es de nuevo. Ahora iremos a las dos puertas y toda la historia. Entonces, haré otro capítulo, oye. Ya que me lo estoy pasando muy bien, en verdad. Pero ya me está desquiciando un poco. Entonces, haremos otro capítulo, iremos por aquí. Y veré a ver si lo del final, eso de la bomba y tal, lo puedo desactivar, no sé. A ver qué se puede hacer. Pero vamos, yo creo que he hecho bastantes finales. No sé exactamente cómo está el tema. Pero bueno, vamos a dejar aquí, como digo. Y haré otro capitulillo, no sé cuánto durará. Espero que no tanto como este. Y nada, me lo pasa muy bien. La verdad es que es bastante entretenido y muy curioso. Y nada, es un puntazo de juego. El narrador es muy bueno, es muy bueno. Es muy divertido y es muy gracioso, tío. Lo hace muy bien, lo hace muy bien. Lo dicho. Aquí se va a quedar. Muchas gracias por vuestro apoyo. Nos vemos en el próximo capítulo de Stanley Parable. Chao.